In today's lesson, we are going to be looking at elemental shapes, lines, and angles, and how they combine to form the objects we see. And then, if you stay till the end, I will share an insight with you that will show you how to perceive angles and draw them accurately. So here I've got a vase, and if I look at the shoulder part of the vase, I would start by drawing it as a oval shape for the shoulders, and then bring down on both sides like that to get the length of the vase. Then, to join the bottom, I will draw an ellipse like this. All right. So I would let that construction line go right through, not just draw it like that. So this is the one thing I wouldn't do. Draw it like that, and then just try and join it like that. You must draw the whole shape going through. Draw it lightly at first. Then we have there at the top another elliptical shape. I'm going to make it more elliptical because that is showing more elliptical. Couple of revolutions through there, and you've already got the inner and the outer rim if you make it thick like that. So now I can bring it down on both sides, and I can see there is the inside where I've got a bit of a, and I just follow that rim over there. I just repeat it and I just draw it like that, and there I've got the inside. Then, you see what pencil I've got here? Okay, 4B is fine. Then the outer. It just follows the inner rim. So if I've drawn the inner rim, I can just, there we go. Maybe it's a little bit more narrower there at that side, and then it comes a bit more greater, thicker here at the base, like that. That's it. It's going to help us with the 3-dimension of the object. There, and then we bring in and just follow that line. You can see it's not definite there, and then I can draw those shoulders in following that shape like that. Like that. There we go. The rounded shoulders, just complete that shape like that. Okay, for our next object, a wine glass, okay, what we need to get is that oval shape, like that, for the top. Just keep it going. For a few revolutions. Doesn't need to be too neat. You don't necessarily get it accurate in one go. And then I take my pencil and I gauge the angles on both sides. So I gauge it on the one side and I draw the angle that I see. Gauge it on the other side and then draw the angle that I see. Then a lot of peculiarity comes with the base. Okay? If we can draw the base as a circle first, we're going to do well. Very often, the problem comes where people are not sure about how to draw that base and then try and draw it something like that. Okay, so if we look at that, that's where the major problem is. So draw it as this ball, and then in that ball we can see that the glass is actually got a bit of more of a flatness that intersects like that. So that ball helps us to get that shape like that. And that's going to help us. And then we're going to go get that stem. So I want you to notice that from the rim to the bottom of the glass is equal to the bottom of the stem. So that's about half. Now I can take that stem, put it in, and I can just shape that curve there a little bit. Now that I've got the central line of the actual wine glass, let's just be careful. Let's just see how this goes. Like that there, and like that there. And then it goes, then it starts thickening out like that. And then we've got that line there to help us and guide us where we can go next. Like that. From there, I've got that part there for the base. And the base, I can look at the extremities. I can take my pencil again and gauge there. And I can see that it is coming almost straight down on both sides to give me that oval shape there. For the bottom of the glass, okay? There, just make it go through. Don't worry, if it overlaps, that is fine. Let things overlap. Okay, once you have got the construction down and everything overlaps, then you can go over and you can render. Now all those lines, those construction lines kind of disappear. Like that. And once I've got that line, then it becomes easier for me to create a more accurate form there. Okay, so the last object is a little bit more complicated. And I'm going to draw it from a side view. So, let's get my 2B here and let's begin. So I start off with the top. Okay, and there I've got a line, well, I've got a shape there, an oval, and I can just gauge that the actual top part comes down at a little slight angle there. Okay, that's also going to help. And then I add to that another oval shape there. The next thing that we need to sit and look at is the angles. There's an angle coming in here, and then we first look at the angle coming down on this side. And then we look from the angle going in to the angles going out. You can see the angle here is slightly different. This one's coming a bit more out, and that one is slightly more straight. Well, not straight, just like that. Okay, and then from there, I've got this space there that I need to observe. That's like a negative space. Okay, it comes out there. And then what I can do is to draw the curve of that shape like that, and I get a circle there. It's going to help me get the roundness there, and then I can see where that line is going down to about there. And that's going to help me also get that part of the vase like that, of the jug. And then it comes down on that side, and then I get the base, so that I must get oval shapes there for that base. If you keep it nice, loose, free like that, you're going to find it a lot easier to just compile all these shapes. Okay, and now I'm putting a smaller one for the base. Now, I first drew all these lines, they're overlapping. You can see the circle here, you can see the oval there, and the lines going through. So this is going to make it easier for me to just kind of render the object. There I've got a bit more of a curve there. And then I can look at that shape, that negative space shape inside. The actual object going down there. It's sort of like a kind of like a teardrop kind of a shape. There. You also get the kind of roundness there. If you want to, just draw a circle to help you get that roundness. And then it comes down like that. This is coming down, so I'm bringing this, I'm rendering that. And then here at the top, I can now finish off that rim. It's got a slight little dip there, and then it comes into a roundness there, and then it comes up there, and it's got a bit of a stretch there. Okay. Don't worry about being perfect. Get it as close as you can, and keep practicing. If you want to do it in different sizes, big, small, that's definitely going to help you. So, if you struggle to see the angles or draw the angles correctly, I want you to do this experiment with me. Okay? Take your pencil, hold it out arm's length in front of your eyes, and I want you to actually try and fix looking at one edge or the other edge of the pencil. Then I want you to close your one eye, and I want you to fix on the edge. Then I want you to open your eyes again, close one eye again. What you will notice is if that both your eyes are open, it is hard to fix upon any specific line or any point on the pencil. Once one of the eyes is closed, it becomes easier to fix your view on a line or at a point. It makes your vision more acute, and therefore you can be able to gauge these angles more accurately. So keep one of your eyes closed as you put against the side of the vase or whatever object, so that you can gauge that angle with a more sharp, acute vision. What I want to first stress, okay, is your approach. Also with lines and things. The last thing you want to do is draw lines that are rigid and hard like that. Once again, in the beginning, keep your lines sketchy. If you want to, you can practice it like this and get yourself some really a feeling of how the lines can flow. As much as we practiced with those ovals and circles, you can practice getting your lines and do it like this. Backwards, forwards, and get a nice flowing feel. Different lengths as well. Different angles. Away from you, toward you. This is, I think, important to emphasize. You want the arms, your arm to be relaxed, and you want the pencil in your hand to be kind of loose when you start and you approach your drawing. So now you can go and you can take these things that you've learned about, lines and shapes, and you can go apply that to any objects in your environment. Go look around for objects and get all the practice that you can. Okay, thank you till next time. I see you again, and keep practicing.